So, are we making progress? Are things changing in the mainstream, in Canadian theatre and theatre around the world? I would have to say yes. These are exciting times. Things are changing, perhaps incrementally, but we are seeing differences. So it started with small things, or maybe not small things, big things, but for instance with Nina Liakino getting appointed the artistic director at Factory Theatre, and how the program has completely changed there now. So we're getting to see a lot of plays by women, and especially by people of color and Indigenous people, and it's really, I think, rippled out and shown other theatre companies what can be done. And of course they really struggled at first. They had to completely switch over their audience base and their subscription and all of that, and people were worried it wasn't going to work, but it seems to have been working. Then, the last few years we were seeing a lot of what they were calling the white guy shuffle, or the white man shuffle. All these artistic directorship jobs would come up, and we would take one white guy from one place and just put him in the other role, and we'd swap them all around. And that was getting very frustrating, and people got very vocal about that. Letters were written, especially in the wake of this Me Too movement in Canada. We have a strong Got Your Back movement now, and they've been very active on the policy and employment front. So example, at Soulpepper, when they were looking to hire a new artistic director there, they wrote a letter and got many people to sign on to it, just expressing who and what they would like to see in that position, but also more importantly about the process in terms of the transparency and who should be interviewed and how you get that information out there. So we're seeing changes all over the place, from the top down, policy coming into it, which wasn't really happening so much before. And now we have this amazing appointment at Soulpepper, Black woman. It's going to be fantastic to see what happens. I think the programming will change, and we're just seeing this ripple out all over the place. So one indicator for me that we use at the Playwrights Guild is every year we do an annual production survey, and we look at all the shows, major and small, not all of them, but close to all of them. And we do a gender-based analysis. So we just look at who wrote the play. Was it a man, a woman, a mixed team, a transgender or non-binary person? And then we just crunch all the numbers and create stats. So when we look at all of the plays that are produced, women have not yet been able to crack the 30% marker. So it's always been just under 30. It goes up and down between 25 and like 29. Sometimes it regresses and sometimes it goes up, but it's been pretty stagnant. So this was the 2017-18 season, was the first time that women playwrights cracked that 30% marker. And I don't have the figures in front of me, but I think it was literally like 30.5%. But this was very exciting news because yay, we did it, we cracked that. And when we look at just Canadian work, women have always fared a little bit better there, but never been able to crack the 35% marker, always stuck just under 35. So again, for the first time in the 2017-2018 season, we just cracked that 35% marker when we look at Canadian work. So we could have a party and get really excited, and it is exciting and it is great, but in these kind of circles, in the equity, diversity, and inclusion circles, we tend to kind of reserve judgment for a bit because we've seen this happen at the provincial level before. A couple of years ago, Manitoba had produced way more work by women than men for the first time ever, and it was amazing and incredible, but it turned out to be a one-year anomaly. It was a one-off, and within 2 years they went back to the status quo. So we're pretty excited to have cracked this 30 and 35% marker, but we will wait and see what happens next year, if that's legit, if it holds, or if it was just kind of a one-off. So we'll see. But feeling pretty hopeful that it looks like, in terms of the world of theater, things are changing. We are seeing more women being put into roles of power, artistic directorships. We need to see it a lot more at the board level still, so we'll keep working on that. And then it's trickling down. We are seeing more programming by women and by people of color in the theaters. And of course, with that comes juicier and better acting roles for those communities as well, and design and the whole bit. And I think it affects the audiences as well. We always hear that theater's dying and no one wants to go anymore. And something that always confounded me was that when we looked at audience members, often they're over the age of 50, often they are white and often they are women. So the gender aspect was always fascinating to me because the old artistic directors continued to program for white men, but their audiences tended to be white women. So that was kind of weird. So there's been the shift in the programming, and I think it's bringing in those new audiences. Theater doesn't have to die. It just actually needs to speak to the reality of your culture and your society, and then the people will come. So I think we are seeing that. We're seeing a greater pluralism in programming, and I think that will trickle down into audiences, and it will give us a more truthful and representative culture, and that can only be a good thing.